I please get a house special? Thank you.
Kelly Flanagan moved to Melbourne's north a couple of months ago.
This is definitely home now, and I'm really happy to be here. It's very different to what I'm used to, the amount of traffic and people. I went to prison in 2022, 14th of February, for armed robbery, kidnapping, false imprisonment, basically a drug deal kind of gone wrong.
How many years did you get?
I did 42 months, so it's like 3 years, 6 months.
Kelly has battled drug addiction most of her adult life. She was locked up in Victoria's maximum security women's prison, Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, in February 22 until March this year.
That is Lydia Abderalik, and obviously that's myself.
Tell me about Lydia. Who is she?
They call her the catfisher. She pretended to be Lincoln Lewis off Home and Away.
My next door neighbour, Malka Leifer, the pedophile principal. I also lived with Samantha as a party. I lived with her for quite a long time.
2 years into her sentence, her daily routine changed.
You'd get normally unlocked at 8:30 in the morning. They would count everyone correct, and the next thing you know, you're not getting let out. So you're required to stay in your cell. They don't tell you when you're getting out. They don't tell you the reason that you're locked down.
Lockdowns sometimes happen due to emergencies, riots, security concerns. But from September, the Dame Phyllis Frost inmates were locked alone in their cells for days on end without explanation.
I suffered really bad with my mental health with lockdowns. I did self-harm. I cut my wrists on an occasion. Being locked down is exactly the same as being in solitary confinement.
As months went by, she says prisoners' family visits and phone calls were cancelled, as were therapy and medical appointments, even legal visits.
The highlighted days are the days that we were locked down. So you'll see things like lockdown all day, only 30 minutes out.
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of lockdowns on this day.
16 days this month. As we get through to November, you'll see there's still 13 days disruption there, and then you'll see like little comments, no staff at all.
Then, on March 13th at 11:45 a.m, Kelly documented a suicide attempt.
The nurse said that she's cut her throat and her wrists.
Her diaries document 7 suicide attempts by fellow prisoners in 1 month.
Lockdown 100% had everything to do with that. This is what happens when you put us in a space with no connection.
Earlier this month, more than 1,000 prison officers cast a no-confidence vote in the state's Corrections Commissioner, Larissa Strong. At issue, soaring rates of violence with a string of alleged assaults against staff across the prison system and accompanying staff shortages. Both issues may get worse with tougher bail laws taking effect in March, expecting to push inmate numbers even higher.
The prison system is in failure in Victoria. They are potentially rolling lockdowns. It's just crazy, the fact that this government has allowed it to get this bad.
Victoria's Shadow Corrections Minister, David Southwick, says staff shortages need to be addressed urgently.
The morning comes around and they haven't got the rosters right, or a whole lot of people call in sick, or they haven't replaced a number of staff. So the safest thing to do is just to keep prisoners locked away. Now, if it happened once or twice, then that would be okay. But this has been happening for months and months and months.
He says prison guards told him in text messages that they feel unsafe and unsupported at work.
4 staff were injured yesterday due to non-compliant prisoners. 2 more of my colleagues have been assaulted. 1 sustained a punch to the face and the other was spat on.
A government spokesperson told 7:30 that the Commissioner has heard staff's concerns and that her department is supporting them. Do you think that some of those prison guards feel that they have no other option than to not turn up to work because they're not feeling safe?
Yeah, to not turn up to work, I think that's a big thing, or to leave altogether. So there are a huge amount of prison staff that are just leaving the system altogether because they don't feel safe.
And then that results with more lockdowns.
More staff shortages and more lockdowns.
Corrections Victoria acknowledges an increase in lockdowns here at Dame Phyllis Frost Centre since July last year. But they say things like meals and legal visits are still being provided as usual. They deny an increase in self-harm incidents. But information obtained by 7:30 tells a different story. Confidential government correspondence indicates that since July there have been at least 106 lockdowns at the prison. 7:30 has also obtained a log of legal and other support services showing the extent of the lockdowns. On November 8th and 11th, no dinner is catalogued. On the 18th of February, all prison, no access out of cell, 43 hours lockdown. On this day, you had no dinner?
No dinner. No dinner. Yeah, so there's no staff at all.
Contrary to assurances from the Victorian government, the log notes that prisoners were unable to attend their legal appointments on at least 7 occasions.
What we're seeing on the ground versus what's being told to us are just, they don't match up.
Adriana McKay runs Flat Out, a service that helps female inmates find homes outside.
For a long term, get out and stay out of prison, housing is our first objective. That also allows mothers to be reunified with children. It allows people to access counselling services that address trauma in a stable place.
It's Adriana's job to work out the catch-22 of prisoner housing. She says the parole board won't commit to a release date without a home address. But new leases can't be secured without a release date.
Due to the lockdowns, Kelly was unable to make most of her appointments.
And what did that mean for her release?
Kelly stayed in for months longer than she was supposed to stay in, or what her earliest exit date should have been.
A separate log of activity obtained by 7:30 shows that since January, at least 28 housing-related appointments were cancelled due to lockdowns. Victoria's Minister for Corrections, Enver Erdogan, was not available for an interview. 7:30 sent a series of questions about the length of the lockdowns and their impact. None were answered. In a statement, he said that lockdowns are sometimes necessary for safety and security, and he expects them to be kept to a minimum. Now out on parole, Kelly and other former prisoners are speaking out for those still inside. Some did not want to reveal their identity.
They're like locking you down, sometimes with no food in your cell, and you're like hungry and depressed and anxious, and it just like, on top of that, it's like, when am I gonna put food in my mouth next?
I know too that like a lot of the programs supported my sanity because it, you know, it gave me something to do during the day, and being restricted to that, like, it sends anyone crazy.
Everyone is a broken soul in there, you know, just trying to survive.
I'm not saying that I didn't deserve to be in prison, because I definitely did. You know, my crime is inexcusable. But that doesn't mean that I don't have the right to be released from my cell. I want to heal, I want to be a good person. But you can't lock me in a box and say to me, now you need to be a good person, right?
And a note that if you need help now, you can call Lifeline on 13 11 14